Hey sweeties, today we are making Louisiana style rice dressing. Don't you dare call it dirty rice. Not in front of my mother-in-law anyway. She hates that name. So rice dressing, my favorite Thanksgiving side. Let me show you how to make it, but please subscribe to Sweet Savant. Hit that thumbs up, that notification bell. Now let's get into this rice dressing. We're going to start with about a pound of chicken gizzards, and we're going to clean them, removing any parts that are not tasty, like these little greenish skin-like parts. They can make the gizzards taste bitter, so we're going to cut them out or pull them off. I like to cook my gizzards and the rice a day in advance. This is about a little over a pound of chicken gizzards, and I'm going to use about 3/4 of this, 3/4 of a pound. Honestly, a lot of it gets eaten as a snack before we make the final dish. And then sometimes you can just peel it off. Now that we have our gizzards in a nice heavy pot, we're going to add in a little bouillon powder. That's going to be our salt, like a tablespoon of bouillon powder, bay leaf, and some onion and celery scraps, because we're going to be chopping lots of onions, celery for our dressing, so use the scraps. And that way you don't have to pick onion pieces out of this. Let's go with 6 cups of water. And then we're going to let this simmer for about an hour and 20 minutes until our gizzards are nice and tender. If I was doing this in a pressure cooker, I would reduce the water to 3 cups and pressure cook it on high for 25 minutes. 30 minutes if you want the gizzards really, really soft. Like if you're feeding senior citizens or people with issues with their teeth, then you want it really soft. I like to cook the gizzards a day in advance and then let them cool down in the broth, and also make my rice a day in advance. This is one of the gizzards after an hour and 30 minutes of cooking. Looks nice and soft. I like to cool this down a bit before I refrigerate it. I'm just going to stick these cold packs on the side and stir it occasionally to try to speed the cooling, and then I will refrigerate it overnight and then chop up the gizzards and proceed with the recipe. Now we'll work on the chicken livers. Now this is the day of, so we are going to try to remove as much liquid as we can from the livers. Take them out of the liquid and put them onto a paper towel, and then we'll season them with salt and pepper and cook them up. I'll list the complete recipe in the description box, so check there for the full list of ingredients. I'm cooking this all in a 5.5 quart skillet, nonstick ceramic skillet. This is the Beautiful by Drew Barrymore collection, available at Walmart. Not sponsored, but that's just what I really use. And I'm going to cook them until they have browned nicely on each side without cooking them until they're grainy. They can become grainy very quick, so about 2 or 3 minutes on each side. Remember, they're going to cook more later. We're going to kind of do this fried rice style. I use about 1/2 to 3/4 of the livers because it's a very strong flavor. You can use more or less if you like. I really love the livers in it though. And now I'm going to use some sausage, that roll ground sausage, just 1/2 of a pack of that, and get that nice and brown. And while that is cooking, I'm going to chop up our aromatics, our celery, onions, and red bell pepper. And you want them chopped, I mean, not super fine, but you don't want huge chunks because you want them maybe about the size of the grains of rice, and they're going to shrink down as you cook them. Oop, don't forget the scallions. I'm not showing it here, but you have to have scallions, green onions, in with your aromatics, the green part especially. Now it's time to sweat our veggies down. We'll just move our sausage over to make a little space and add our vegetables into the pan with the sausage and sweat them down. We don't want them to take on a lot of color. We just want them to become tender and translucent. So give that a good mix. And then we are going to turn our heat down to low and cover it and give that low heat time to remove some of the moisture and bring that out into our dish. And now while that is cooking, we're going to chop up our gizzards. And these gizzards were cooled overnight and taken out of the broth, and now we can chop them up. When my in-laws would make rice dressing back in the day, they had a hand crank meat grinder, and they would grind the gizzards and the livers with that. I'm doing it, I don't know if I would call this a shortcut, but it's just a little bit of a different way. And I think it works really, really well. The livers are easy. They break apart easily. They're more tender. The gizzards take a little bit more chopping. When it comes to the livers, now these are the livers. They have a little bit of it's not a tendon, I don't know what you call that, but that connects the lobes of the livers, and it gets a bit chewy. So I like to pull that out and then chop our liver. And you can see that our livers are still slightly pink on the inside. And let me show you the turkey, the smothered turkey that we're serving this with, because oh my goodness, imagine this gravy over our rice dressing. It's so good. The video for that recipe is posted, and I'll put the link in the description box. Back to our rice dressing. You can see how much our vegetables have cooked down, releasing the moisture that was inside, becoming soft. We'll add in our chopped up liver and gizzards and stir that around. You can add in a little broth to help deglaze the pan there. Now we have our cooked white rice, and I cooked this the day before, cooked the rice with a little bit of oil in the water, and that helps for the grains to stay separate. And you want to make sure that when you cook your rice, you don't add too much water because the grains become really blown out and mushy. You want a firm, almost dry cooked rice. And now we're going to add our rice, about 5 cups of cooked rice, into that rice dressing, into our livers, gizzards, and sausage. Oh my gosh, it's so good, folks. Then you can add a bit of broth, and this is some of the broth that was left from when we cooked the gizzards. You got to save that broth because we use it in this dish. We use some in our smothered turkey. It's really delicious. And then, kind of proceed almost like we would do a fried rice, and we have beautiful, beautiful rice dressing. It takes a little time, yes, but the results are well worth it. And you can adjust the seasoning with a little salt and pepper here at the end. But remember, the sausage has quite a bit of salt. We cook the gizzards with a little salt in the broth. But you adjust it to your taste. I love this. My family loves this. It's one of our favorite, if not the top requested Thanksgiving side. It's so good. Thanks to my mother-in-law for inspiring this recipe. Please subscribe to Sweet Savant. Hit that thumbs up, that notification bell, and y'all have a delicious day.